Hello, folks. This is Steve AB4L. I have the window open. It's still real nice. You may hear the traffic. Nothing in this episode is a promotion, nor is it a recommendation. Nothing really interesting on Slashdot today. Let's look at bleeping computer. You know, hackers and cybersecurity and all that. Now, I'm a little slow doing this. I'll admit I didn't notice it until this afternoon, and it may be because I didn't actually look at Bleeping Computer yesterday. Today is the 2nd of May. Yesterday was May Day. I'm scrolling down, and there's not a lot that's that interesting. Oh, wait a minute. Here's one I've talked about. Right there. Hackers leak images to taunt Western Digital's cyber attack response. And it's written by the guy that owns the website, so this was actually a #1 story yesterday. You know, Western Digital Corporation makes hard drives, SSDs, very early in the field. I've talked about them recently. That's why I'm doing this. Now let's look at what this article's about. A certain ransomware attack group, alias blackcat, has published screenshots of internal emails and video conferences stolen from Western Digital, the hard drive manufacturer company. Now, let's just do a little quick one here. WDC. Western Digital. I'm not promoting anything. Remember, after when you went to, like, I think it was the support page, and you click a few times, let's see if they've brought it back. All right, it looks like they've actually got some stuff going. Yeah, they've actually got some stuff going. But they didn't for a couple of weeks after the attack was discovered. So this is good. Bravo. But let's go back to the article. Let's close these links. We'll say they look like they're back to normal. Oh no, I'm in this link, this tab. Excuse me. The leak comes after the threat actor warned Western Digital on April 17th, so that's 2 weeks ago, that they would hurt them until they cannot stand it anymore, quotes and quotes, until they, Western Digital, can't stand it anymore if a ransom was not paid. So, you know, the government here wants you to stand up to the ransomware stuff and not pay it. I had a feeling that Western Digital, for some reason, was going to become an example case. So it says, on March 26th, it'll be about 5 to 6 weeks ago, Western Digital suffered a cyber attack where threat actors breached its internal network and stole company data. However, no ransomware was deployed and files were not encrypted. They simply broke in. simply broke in. In response, the company shut down its cloud services for 2 weeks. That's why I just went and took a look. Oh, there it is. WDC NAS My Cloud. There we go. Oh, you see, I've been to these before. WD, Western Digital, My Cloud Home, Best Cloud Storage. And it looks like they're back. Because when you went to the NAS, network attached storage stuff, see, the point was, my criticism was, you've bought this device, it's sitting over there on the other side of the room, but for some reason they wrote the interface software running on your computer to go through their cloud services, who knows where, and then to access it, it's just sitting over there. And then after these people broke in and they had to shut all this stuff down, they said, oh, by the way, we actually built the back door in. Here's how you do it from your desktop across the room. And it was my contention that that kind of approach, plus some other products, where you're going through the cloud, why? So they can spy on you, so they can sell you stuff, but it's of no real security use to you. And so Western Digital customers were down for a week. And for the ones that didn't really understand how computers work, they couldn't figure out how to use their expensive NAS device on the other side of the room until finally Western Digital recovered enough to tell you how to do it. The threat actor reportedly shared with TechCrunch, who were the first people to disclose this publicly, samples of stolen data, including files signed with Western Digital's stolen code signing keys. This is what you use. Their software is authenticated by the crypto keys that it's signed with, and the thieves have it, and they can push stuff into yours, and you'll click on it, and your computer will think it's perfectly safe. Oh, yeah, they had to issue new ones, but what about literally all the drivers on 1 billion computers around the world? That was my argument. So they showed them code signing keys, unlisted corporate forms. Okay. Now let's get to what's happening now. So this group is taunting Western Digital. In a further attempt to taunt and embarrass Western Digital, which is a major world IT supplier, security researcher Dominic Alvieri told Bleeping Computer that the hackers released 29 screenshots of emails, documents, and video conferences related to the company's response to the attack. Now, if you go back and watch the video I had about it, I proposed that these guys are probably still on the inside and they're watching them try to figure out how to protect themselves. Go back and watch the video. I predicted that over 2 weeks ago. How did I know? So now the explanation. When a company discovers they are breached, one of the first countermeasures is to learn how the threat actor gained access to the network and blocked the path. Sure. But you see, the threat actors may have put other ways to get in there, and the question is, can you find them? Yeah, you block off how they got in there in the first place. They may even drop hints about what it was to decoy you into putting your effort into a less than comprehensive effort. Search. Band-Aids. However, there's sometimes a gap between detection and response. allowing the adversary's access to persist even after the attack is detected. Yeah, they're snickering up their sleeves. They're watching you as you discover that somebody has been in there. And then they're going to watch how you try to shore it up. And they're snickering some more because they're watching it from the inside. And once they know how you did it, they can even tell you publicly how you did it, and they're still in there because you weren't that smart. This access allows them to monitor the company's response as well as steal more data. The data they're stealing is how you're trying to defend. From the screenshots leaked by this hacker threat group, the threat actors are implying that they had continued access to some of Western Digital systems as they show video conferences and emails about the attack. So they're watching the people discuss what happened inside and who they're hiring to help them. And they're snickering all the way, assuming they can understand English. Because you know, some of the attackers, English is not their first language. Included in the leaked data is another message from the threat actors where they claim to have customers' personal information and a complete backup of Western Digital's SAP back office implementation. In other words, they could put it out on the internet and pretend they were that facility. While the data appears to belong to Western Digital, Beeping Computer could not independently verify its source or if it was stolen during the attack. They have to have a disclaimer. In other words, don't take this as 100% gospel. There's always a chance that this is some kind of deception by somebody else. You know, did you hear what I just said? What if there's another attacker that got in there once they found out Western Digital had bad defenses? And then they act like they're the other guys. I didn't read that in the article, but that's sort of implied in what that disclaimer is saying. Now, here's what the threat people are saying to him. We know you have the link to our Onion site. Approach with payment prepared. The Onion site would be the multi-layered disguise trail where you feed the ransom in here and then you think you can track how it's handed off to who we finally are, but there's only like 30 steps in between. Can you track the money as it goes to an automated system set up for people like us? Approach with payment prepared, and then it says redacted off. They don't want to show that word. Brace yourselves for the gradual fallout. In other words, they're saying if you don't pay, watch what happens to you. Then the final sentence here is Western Digital declined to comment regarding the leaked snapshot screenshots or claims by the threat actors. Now, why am I going on about this? I'm going to pat myself on the back. Let me switch browsers. Here's my channel's homepage. What's highlighted is playlists. Now, the way the playlists are arranged, I got a lot of them. The newer ones are near the top of the list. And what's this one right here? It's called the WDC Affair. WDC saga escalates. WDC is still a zombie. And then I said I mixed in some others because essentially because it involves these, you're using a product that actually is operating locally, but for some reason you're going through somebody's web services, which is inherently unsecure and unnecessary. Except, as I said, they're spying on you. They want to get more money out of you. They make themselves look big, modern. Oh, cloud services. BS, BS, BS. I called the playlist the WDC Affair, even though I talked about the National Cash Register Cloud incident and also something about a big deficiency in the Java RMI backdoor and on them, which was the same kind of theme. And now, and now, we're back with yet another continuing epilogue of the WDC affair, which I knew was going to keep going. I knew we hadn't seen the last of it. And I'm going to predict it's going to go on for a while longer. Yeah, the WDC site might look like it's okay, but these guys have said, we're going to train you to heal. Now, why would the hackers make them an example? Now, remember, I'm not against Western Digital. We're talking about criminals doing this stuff. We're talking about criminal activity. But if you're standing back and you're a security analyst, you have to look at this and say, what's the purpose of doing this? They want to humiliate WDC, which everybody connected with computers knows the name. Everybody connected with computers and whatever knows the name. You don't pick some obscure target that nobody's ever heard of. You pick one of the big dogs and then you break them. Remember house train a doggy so it won't shit on the kitchen floor? Know how to whimper and whine to go out even if you don't want to get from watching the TV, but not shit on the floor? There's no sandbox in the house, will not shit on the floor. That's what they're doing to Western Digital in order to terrify everybody else down the road into quicker submission when they get into them. That's my interpretation of what these criminals are doing. And I knew it back when I saw the first announcement about Western Digital. I had a feeling this was going to be a continuing story. I'm sorry, Western Digital. Oh, I keep going there. Hackers leak images to taunt Western Digital's cyber attack response. They're housebreaking the biggest dog to make it easier to get money from everyone else. That's the message. I said it differently than the headline. Steve AB4, remember, I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. Just an idiot running his mouth. We shall see. Saying see you in 73.